Rise and shine, it's brisket time. We are going to be smoking this 35-day aged prime grade brisket. I've never done this before. I've been aging this at home in my SteakAger. I'm so excited to do this. I can't wait. I'll walk you through the whole process step by step down to the slice. Stay tuned. Welcome to Chili's and Smoke. I'm Brad Prose. You're probably here for new ideas about grilling or barbecue. If that's you, click subscribe below and let's talk about this. And what this is a 35-day aged prime grade brisket. I aged it here at home in my SteakAger, and you can see it just has incredible color now. The fat has absolutely changed color. The meat's changed color. What we'll have to do is carve off some of the outside layer and then season it so we can get prepared to put it on the smoker. I've never done this before. I really don't know what to expect, so I'm really curious to see how this turns out. All right, let's get this trimmed up. You can see this is just any other brisket. It's got one side of fat. It's a little bit less fat on here. I will have to remove this top layer though. I'm going to keep everything. I've got a little bowl over on the side, so let's get to trimming. Alright guys, here we have it. I've trimmed it the best I can to make it as aerodynamic as possible. I didn't want to sacrifice too much of the fat because there are some thinner spots on here as well. So you can see that we've got this nice ruby red color all over. Here, I'll flip it. You can see I was able to maintain most of the fat cap. There's a few dry spots in here that I had to sacrifice, but that's okay. Normally I would season a brisket with just pepper and salt for like this, but today I'm actually going to use a rub that's part pepper, salt, and coffee. It's Brisket Bomb by Spiceology. It's really nice and simple, and I find that this particular coffee goes really great with brisket, so I'm going to be generous on here and get this seasoned up both sides. All right, here we go. Smells amazing. All right, the smoker is preheated, the brisket seasoned, it's rested for a little bit. I'm gonna go put it on right now, but the aroma's coming off of this incredible coffee, nutty, fruity flavor that you can just smell emanating right off of that ruby red meat. And the fat is melting right in front of me. It's so amazing, I can't wait. Let's get it on. So I was originally going to put this brisket in my lump charcoal smoker, but it's actually too long. So I'm going to put it in my pellet smoker. Probably better anyway, just because I'm going to have some even temperature control the whole way through. I don't want to screw this one up. If you noticed, I actually cooked it fat side down. I like to do that on this particular smoker, the Pit Boss 1150. I find that it has a more even cook. It protects the bottom of the brisket too, because the fat's on the bottom, the heat sources on the bottom kind of spread out and then emanating around the whole brisket. And it also just has a nicer presentation. So now the harder part, I gotta wait until that thing hits 165 before I wrap in some butcher paper. I don't know how long that's gonna take. I've never cooked a dry aged brisket before, so wait and see. Right, so the brisket just hit about 155, and it's a little early for normal wrapping, but the flat is actually a little bit thinner. I'll show you that in just a second. So I want to go ahead and wrap it. It's not going to hurt. I just want to make sure that that flat doesn't dry out. And that's just where it comes with experience, making sure that you make those adjustments so that you get the results that you want. So I'll go ahead and pull it out. We're going to wrap it in butcher paper and toss it back in. All right, so take a look here. You can see that the flat has started to shrink a little bit on this side, not as much on this side. I think that's just a symptom of the cut of meat itself. All right, I like to check the temperature right where the point meets the flat. Okay, it's right about 160, so that's a good time for me to go ahead and wrap this. All right, let's wrap it. Now, I know this is the top, so I'm actually going to put a little X on the paper just to remind myself. That way I don't mess that up. I'm going to put it right back on. All right. There she goes. All right, so the brisket is ready to be pulled off. I've checked it a couple times. It's probe tender, right where it needs to be. It's been a little bit over 9 hours. The brisket, after trimming, ended up being just a little bit over 11 pounds. So since it's dry aged, it did cook a little bit faster. That's what I was warned, so I didn't know what to expect. Let's go ahead and pull it off and check it. All right, you can see a couple holes where I was checking the temperature. Let's get this out. All right, you see X marks the spot. This is the top of the brisket. Let's get this opened up and take a peek carefully. Don't want to get rid of those juices. Oh my gosh, wow. Look at that. Look at all those juices and that delicious bark. This brisket is done. It smells amazing. It's so incredible, super juicy. So many juices are coming out. The bark is incredible. I love the smell. I'm gonna let it rest right now. So resting does not mean putting this in a cooler, wrapped up and with towels. If you do that, it's gonna continue to cook. The muscles will continue to squeeze and push out all the juices, and you'll be left with the dry brisket swimming in all the juice that should be inside here. So what we wanna do is let it rest at room temp. That way the juices thicken, go back in from outside of the surface of all the fibers, back into the meat. That way it'll be really juicy. So what I'm gonna do is let this rest to about 150 to 160 or so, depending on how patient I'll be. And then we'll slice and check it out. Look at that bark. This is crazy. It's rested and ready to be sliced. All right, let's slice right down the middle. Oh wow, that just fell right through. Take a look at that. Oh my gosh. That is incredible. Wow. Let's slice a piece. Look at it just fall right through. Oh my gosh. That is so tender. So tender. Look at that. Wow. Let's cut a few pieces. All right, let's slice through this point. This is always my favorite part. It's just bouncing so much. It's hard to even slice. Look at this. Wow. This is just crazy. Wow, so juicy. Look at that. Oh my, look at that. That fat, I love that color. The bark is so nice, it's just glistening. It's so juicy. Wow. Even the flat, look at that. Look at it just glisten. That looks amazing. Wow. Oh, I have to say, I feel really relieved. Brisket in itself is a really stressful cook, but to do it with something of such high quality, 35-day aged prime grade, I mean, this is just spectacular. I mean, you saw how tender it is, the smokiness, the bark, it's just dripping with juice from every side. I mean, this is incredible. The biggest question is, what does it taste like? I have to try. I'm gonna actually try a piece right in the middle here that's got both a little bit of the fat on the bottom and then the lean part on the top. Let me give this a try. Wow. Oh. This is so good. It's so incredibly beefy. It's so juicy. This is hands down the juiciest brisket I've ever had. I mean, just look at the cutting board. I mean, this is so good. I just can't believe that it can be this good. I don't want to have brisket another way. I'm so spoiled. All right, now I'm gonna try a piece of the point. I can't help it. It's just this delicious, fatty goodness. Oh my gosh. This is insane. You don't even need to chew. Wow, this just melts in your mouth. I cannot wait to make sandwiches and tacos and all the things with brisket. This is incredible. It's a good thing that I saved all of that brisket tallow and trimmings too, because I'm gonna render that down for something really delicious pretty soon. All right, well, I hope that you enjoy this. Please leave some comments below. If you like what you see, hit subscribe, and cheers.